Let's step through an example of the distance formula. The distance formula says that the distance between point A, which we're representing with x of 1, y sub 1, and point B, which we're representing with x of 2, y sub 2, is calculated using this formula. Now, you don't have to memorize this formula. This formula is on your formula charts, which you can use on the test. You're going to take the square root of the quantity x of 1 minus x of 2 squared plus the quantity y sub 1 minus y sub 2 squared. Now, it does not matter actually which point comes first, as long as the points are in the same corresponding area to each other. So let's come down here and do an example. I've drawn a problem down here, and I'm going to color code just like I did up above. I'm going to use my A value here. I have -4, -5. And you notice I set this up ahead of time. And I set this up ahead of time every time. It helps me as I go through and solve the problem. Also note that this says AB. This is the length of AB. When there's no line over the top of it, that's what it's telling me is happening here. So my X value is -4. And the y value that goes with it is -5. So they're in the same corresponding position because they're part of the same ordered pair. The other ordered pair, 1, -2, is going to be put in that same method. But when I get over here, I have minus a -2. And minus a negative, remember, makes it plus. Minus a negative, so that would make it plus 2. Now you could go ahead and put this in your calculator at this point in time, but you have to remember that you would need to put a parenthesis here and a parenthesis here. What those two parentheses would show is the information that you want included under the radical. I find it much easier to simplify the equation down a little bit before I actually input it into the calculator. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go the square root, and -4 minus 1 is -5, quantity squared. Now notice it's this quantity that I'm squaring, so I need that number to be in the parentheses, plus -5 plus 2 would be -3 quantity squared. And again, I'm going to bring it over and put a little hook there that shows that that's where I'm ending. The square root of this would then be 25 plus 9. And notice that when you take a negative times a negative, you're still getting a positive. A negative times a negative, you're getting a positive. So when I add this together, I'm taking the square root of 34. And when we look this up in the calculator, you'll notice that we're going to be doing an approximation. We want to round to the nearest hundredths. So this right here means that this is an approximate number. It's not an exact number. And in our calculator we would get 5.83. So I would like you to take a chance and go do a couple of these problems and be ready to ask questions in class tomorrow. Thank you.